version while running the root.sh, run root.sh on the first node or which you want to treat as a master node. Run the root.sh on subsequent node. Don't run the root.sh parallelly in any of the node because it creates daemons and it will have problems. Okay, so that's what we have covered, and we have looked at the basic ASM detail. Now in this chapter we are going to talk more on ASM disk groups and Oracle cluster file system. Okay, so now we have, if you remember the first topic long back, there are multiple ways we can interact with ASM. Okay, if you look at, there are some tools we called about. One of the tool was AMCCMD and the second tool was ASMCA. As you know, ASMCA is nothing but a graphical interface tool. It's, if you look at the main screen of AMCA, the things which you need to do before you launch this tool is you need to set up your Oracle SID parameter, because based on that it will connect and invoke that. ASM is to be managed by grid user. In this case we are using grid user, grid operating system. In case you are single user, you have to make sure that your Oracle home is set to Oracle grid. That is, in this case it is going to be U01 slash app 11.20 grid. Okay, under that we have. Now if you remember, while installation of grid itself, grid infrastructure, it has asked us to create a data group. Yes, that data group was used to store the size of your disk, OCR file and disk. So in this case, if you look at that, we are trying to create a, when we invoke, it shows us that what are the existing disk group which are already present in current ASM instance. Okay, and another change which you will have to, based on the node which you are going to connect, suppose you are going to connect to the first node, you are going to set your ASM instance Oracle SID is equal to plus ASM 1. So in this case it's a very easy. If you look at, there are 4 tabs. The ASM instance, which talks about the ASM, how many instances are there, disk groups, volume, and ASM cluster file system. So these are the 4 options available. We'll go through each option in detail. So as soon as you create here, click, the next screen will say create the ASM disk group. For creating ASM disk group, it's very easy, but before we do that, we have to make sure some of the basic requirement for creating ASM disk group. One is type of redundancy which you are going to use it. Okay, because once you created the redundancy, you cannot change the redundancy. Okay, there is an option in now with 11gR2, there is an option where we call as a template, and we can change the redundancy for a particular table space or anything, but definitely it is going to override the basic thing, and it's a manipulation, so it's not going to give you the 100% benefit of. So that's very important. Second thing is, what are the disks you are going to use? Are that disk or the lungs available to view it properly? So in this case, if you look at that, there is option called show eligible and show all. There is a difference between both of this. What I will try to do is, so 1 second, give me, I'll connect to the system directly so that we can have a live environment also. Okay, just give me a second. Amit, I'll be sending you your lab information in another 10 minutes in the break. Okay. Let's the first thing you have to do is you have to set the Aura ENV. Okay. Okay. Here, because it's going to be my first node, I do a setup. What is the benefit does? It sets your ENV, environment variable, all Oracle home, everything is been set, the path is been set. ASM. Okay. So this will kickstart your ASM configuration assistant. Previously this was not available, you used to do manually most of the time. So let's create a desk group. Okay, as per the lab exercise we are supposed to do ACFS. Okay, okay, so let's quickly look at that. Sorry. Okay, and then we can do it. We are going to create ACFS disk group. We are going to have use the remaining four file system like that, and we are going to go for the advanced option. Advanced option gives you compatibility option for 3. Okay, the ASM compatibility, this is one, which is advanced option. Default allocation unit is 1. If you require, you can change to 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, and the maximum is 64. Okay, very clearly it is written AU size cannot be modified later, so you need to be very careful and sure, otherwise keep it default. This is the second 3 important parameters here. ASM compatibility, this means that your ASM, currently the ASM metadata will be as on 11.2 onwards. The second one is database. what level of database this ASM can support. If you write 10.02, that means any version above that is supported by this ASM. Okay, if you write 11 and then tomorrow you have a 10G database which has to be done, then this disk group will not be able to store the or support the database. And the last one is ADM volume manager that has to be 12 point because the first time it is introduced in this version only. Okay, please, any question on this? You have to be very careful when you are doing migration. You have to take the lowest database available with you. I think it does not support below 10.02. So you have to be careful. If you have any database with 9i and you want to go to 11gR2 ASM, it will be a problem. You will have to upgrade that database. Okay. Any question here? Can I go to next? Okay. The other option is for you to create using Enterprise Manager. If you connect to Enterprise Manager and then directly you can also create the ASM disk group. It allows a interface. This is nothing but your database console. You can go and check everything through that. Okay, if you go and say the create option, it will give you all the same options. Allocation unit, you have to select the candidate files. See, one difference you will see that, okay, mount this group automatically on storage instance in this cluster. If you click this option in your SP file, it will add this group to be mounted at the startup of the instance. If you don't give this option, you will find that this group has to be manually mounted by you every time, because that's not a part of SP file, this group. Another option here is only candidate disk. You have a multiple option where you can see all disk. In the all disk, it will say it is already member, and it is always best practice to only use candidate disk. Another option to create the disk groups are manual, which most of us been very comfortably used in our past experience. If you have done, you can use using SQL. From SQL plus connect as slash ASM, and you can fire this statement: create this group AFS. The normal redundancy fail group is the same, or you can create another ASM2 fail group. You specify the disk size and all that. One of the challenge, if you have seen many times, if this ORCL dot colon does not come in your list of this group, in that case you will have to give the whole path. In that case you will have to give the full path of this thing. That will be /dev Oracle ASM /disk. Okay, many times it happens. There's no exact reason for that. In this case, we have created another failure disk group, the disk group for Oracle data file ASF1, and for AFS1 we have created another failure group called ASF1, which has been used then. Okay, so then the second option is also the Oracle gives you a default configuration XML file. You can modify the file as per your need and then create that. Okay, so let's look at if you look at, there is a lab exercise to create this file system ASF. Okay, I'm going to select 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and so the parallelly we can do the exercise. Sorry. Okay, this is what we are supposed to do. Click on the advanced system and create this group. Okay, finish. This is the second exercise where it's asking you to use the XML and do that. So it is going to use 9, 10, 11 and add that. Okay, we'll do both the exercise now. Okay, you don't need to mention specify, show advanced option, default. We can copy this to everything if you don't want to change. Okay, if you can change, you have an option 1, 2. I can choose anything. Another thing which is very important, many time you are not able to see the disk properly. In that case, you need to change the discovery path. If suppose somebody has created on different other than /dev option in some of the system, then you can change the discovery path here. It accept all the special characters /dev/ something. Also you can give star so that it will recognize all. See, one more thing which I was talking about is, okay, hide the advanced option so that you can see it properly. If you see show all, in this case it will show you existing which are already been used. In this case, if you see this, okay, 1 minute. Anybody raise any questions? Okay. 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 So in this case, if you see this is a member, so you can overwrite. If you click on this, you do force, you can always write it by force. But that means you are going to overwrite some of the data and there is loose. That's why it is always default, it shows only show eligibles and you have to do that only. Okay, please don't try to do it, will create problem until you are very sure that you want to override that disk group. Okay, in this case it's asking us to select external redundancy. As soon as I have selected external redundancy, the other portion is gone. See, if I do failure, this still, as soon as I write external, it goes away. Okay. Okay. As soon as it is created, you will see that now this is mounted on 2 of 2. If you look at the ASM instance, okay, it will show me which 2 nodes, which ASM instance name which is running, and then, okay. If I want to change, what are the options? View connected. If any database is connected, it will give me the list of connect here. Okay, I have option of making it, stop instant and start up the instant. We can do from here. Okay. Now, the second exercise we are supposed to do is manually create using XML file. So, see, one thing did you notice here? This, as soon as you have created this group, it is automatically mounted on both the nodes. But in the next exercise, you will see when we create through manually with SQL Plus or something, it will not get loaded automatically. So let's go home Oracle Labs lesson 02. Okay, we have a file called F. This is the XML file which tells you to create a FRA disk this string what you want to give. Okay, we are going to use 9, 10, 11 disk, and we are going to give the compatibility exit. You can run the file directly through AMD command. Yes, is everything going fine? Yes. Okay, and then once we can say AMS is CMD FRA DG XML. Oh, sorry. Oh, make big group. Sorry, we have to do that. Okay. Okay. One benefit by typing wrong thing was you got all the commands which you can use using AMCMD, ASMCMD. Now, if you have seen previous version of AMCD, there was not something called MD backup, MD restore. This is for attributes. This sets attributes. We'll see all this command. But see all this command. Copies, CD, find, help, all this looks like a Unix commands, but now they are available for your ASM operations. So all these commands you can operate, like change this group, check this group, dog, iostat if you want to see the disk statistic, you want to use ls command, if you want to change the owner, all these passwords, everything command is supported by MCD. And these are the commands which we'll see in the next, where we talk about volume manager. We are going to make this group. Yes, yes, go ahead. Somebody erased it. Yeah. Anything I can help? Hello. Anybody has a question? I just got a ping. Okay. Make this group. I'm going to open the terminal and connect to another node. Okay. So this is great. Oracle labs st.env.sh. Okay, sh st no 2. Yes. Oracle. Yes, you great. Okay. Okay, here I'll set the environment variable aura env, but I will put at sm2. Okay. Now let's see. I've created this group. Did it got automatically mounted? I can check it. CMD. This is DG. Sorry. ASMCMD. LSDG. See, it's good telling me that I have 3 disk group, all 3 are mounted. But same way, a message it's coming. Okay, I'm getting a beep sound. Please noise? Anybody trying to ping or something? Okay, just a second. Anybody getting a message? Okay. 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 Amit, we are not able to hear you. Are you trying to speak?
I'm here. I did not ask a question.
Okay, no problem. Amit, for you in another 10 minutes, I will pass the lab exercise. Okay. I think you will need some catch up required. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I got it. Some small test. It will say how much space I want to use it. This is for just test purpose, so I am saying it. I'm going to use 500 MB of the app. Now again, there are three options provided for you for this volume. Do you want to mirror? You want to keep it high, that means it keeps on protecting backup, or unprotected. And then there is an option called striping. How do you want to do striping? One for 28K strip column. How many columns you want to strip at a time? Okay. So here we are going to select default, and here same way you can create this volume using Enterprise Manager. You go to the tab volumes. If you have seen, this tab is not appearing in 10G and other. If you have a database control and grid control of latest, then only this appears to you. Okay, this is second one. Which one is very important? Somebody asked me. Nowadays it gives the option to place where do you want to place this on that. There is a hot and cold region of the disk. Okay, hot area means each disk wherever it is near to the spindle, that is outermost tract, is called hot region. Hot region has higher bandwidth and can improve low IO latency. So that's why it is suggested that if you have a very crucial data and it's accessed very frequently within ASM disk group, you can place that data on hot region so that you get a better IO latency and performance. So this is also one of the performance trick you can use, one of the tips for performance in the ASM. But there's again a question: if everything is hot, what do I store in the cold? So you have to identify a set of database or a set of tables which are hot. You may have to create a separate disk group or a volume and put it there. You can also create ASM volume using the command alter disk group ASF add volume, test the size and what type of protection you want. Okay, the same command you can use using ASM CVD vol create the group name which has the database group which you are going to do it, the size of that and redundancy unprotected. Okay, so please look at this color. Once first thing to create a cluster file system ASM is you need to create volume. Once you have created volume, if you go and to the ASM cluster file system, you will find a list block. And if you see, you have only given this test volume. This is system generated number. You cannot change it and then do it. Here, you can use this cluster file system as a mount point for your database home file system, or you can use for general purpose. both you can use it, and this is the way when we talk about it supports you Oracle boundaries. If you want to have a shared Oracle home, you can use ASM cluster file system, but there are some drawbacks. We will talk about that, and we have to be careful. Here we are trying to register ASM cluster file with allow the file to automatically mount it on the node. We have to give the mount point here, and we have to register the mount point. Once you register the mount point, it will give you a script which you okay, sorry. Okay, sorry guys, my phone was buzzing. Okay, so once you give the mount point, that mount point is registered with the cluster file system. So next time when you bring up cluster system, it will bring the ASM. Once the ASM comes up, it will bring up the volumes. Once the volume comes up, it will automatically bring up the file system up. Okay, so while you have to bring down the ASM, make sure that if you want to bring down ASM, this share file system or the cluster file system also has to be demounted. Okay, it is the totally dependent on ASM. Okay, configuring, if you want to configure using command line file, there is a make fs option. If you look at
Karthi,
-t ASCFS is nothing but ASM cluster file system. You can give
chair
the
ekkada
volume
pedadam?
name
Where do you
and
want
the
to keep the chair?
device name.
Akkada
If
okayna, or
you
you want to
want
keep
to
it in the corner
register
so
this
that you can
mount
watch
point,
TV?
there is a utility called ASF utility. You have to register with the AFS mount point and grid environment. Same way you have format for AFS for Windows. In Windows you have ASFS format, mine ASM volume name, whatever volume name you want to give. Then you have utility which register your volume, and you can give the point where you want to mount it. Here is G colon mount. So these are the two manual ways where we can also register it. Okay, one thing you have to be very careful when you run the mount command, you cannot directly mount through this tool. If you go and see say mount, it will give you a test script, generate a command, and this command you need to run with the root privilege, because all the mount and file system mounting and other thing is taken care by root. So you need a root privilege to mount, and you can unregister the mount point, but automatically to make it a second. If you want to manually mount or demount it, you will have to take this command and then run it from root from. Whereas when you start up or shut down the clusterware, it will automatically do dismounting and mounting of the file system. Okay, that's one small limitation you can tell about that. That it through tool it cannot mount the. You will have to manually execute that command. Okay, here are the commands if you want to mount and dismount on Windows. Mount command is asm mount wall, the file path where you want to mount it, and the name of that. Here you have to give /bin mount -t. -t is nothing but the file system which you are going to specify, and this is where we are telling Unix it is a ACFS file system, and it is the device name is /dev asm text volume 1, and it has to be mounted as a directory as 201 app grid asf data test. Okay, okay, this was the quiz. Must configure DNS to take advantage of automatic VFN. Yes, true, you can do that. Yes, tell me, we should use or not? So let's finish this exercise in this. There's one more exercise pending on this. Okay, that will create a chapter 2. Okay, we have already does ls this fga. Okay, you can also see what are the disks available. Okay, I'll do make direct